I'm one of those personalities that just goes for what she wants. So I don't have to see a representation for myself to be able to go for what I want. Aerial yoga, to me, allows those people that have certain drawbacks in their bodies to be able to experience certain poses without having it be too abrasive on them.
Vanakkam, Namaste, and hello, everyone. Welcome to the 54th episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Lenise Jay. Originally from Dallas, Texas, Lenise is a certified yoga, Pilates, and aerial yoga instructor. She holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Texas at Arlington in business, health, and communications. She's a professional aerialist and has performed at numerous functions and events. So let's give a big round of applause to Lenise Jay.
That sounds cool.
Hi, Lenise. Welcome onto the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Swati. Thank you for having me today. I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm super excited to hear about your perspectives of yoga. So thank you again for joining me. And without further ado, we'll get started. And the first question I have for you is, how did your journey of yoga begin?
It's such a good question. I actually moved to LA in 2013, and I ended up going to work for a company that specialized in yoga. And I was like an admin, so I would answer customer service questions through email. But they said, we have an aerial yoga teacher training, and we want you to just go and observe and take the class and things. And so I was like, okay. So it was like my first time, I guess, technically with yoga. And I just remember the first class, I was like, if I do one more of these downward dogs, I'm going to scream. This is not cool. I don't like this. It's slow. I don't get it. Everyone's just breathing hard. But it was a teacher training. So we were doing it for about like 3 hours. And the biggest thing I remember is on that Sunday when we all sat outside, I just had this breath of like happiness out of nowhere. And I couldn't explain this happy, just the sun is out, the grass is green, the air is smooth. Like it was just this happiness. And I asked the yoga teacher, like, why am I feeling just happy for just no reason? And she said, it's the yoga. But fast forwarding, I didn't do yoga again until 2020. So it's been a journey for sure. But that to answer your question, that's my first getting into yoga.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Lenise, and how you kind of got started with yoga. So now I want to come into the next question, which is, I know in the introduction when I introduced you, I had mentioned that you're also you have a certification in aerial yoga. So I was wondering, how do you define aerial yoga?
Yes, aerial yoga is yoga suspended. It's truly suspended. We do a lot of inversions in yoga. And I love yoga. I love vinyasa yoga. I love Ashtanga. I love all the different forms of yoga. And it's for everyone. However, realistically, there are people that have limitations with their backs and their shoulders that can't really stay in certain poses and transition through as long as the average person to be able to go through a regular flow. So aerial yoga, to me, allows those people that have certain drawbacks in their bodies to be able to experience certain poses without having it be too abrasive on them, so that they can get used to doing it, let the mind body connection truly happen without them going into flight or fight.
Right.
Um, and then when they get ready, they can actually do a little bit more on their own. So that's to me the biggest difference of aerial yoga. And funny thing is, I didn't make that connection
Mhm.
until like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I love that. Thank you for sharing about how like your definition of aerial yoga and giving a little bit of an insight of what it is. So I was wondering, what are some of the benefits of practicing aerial yoga? At least the benefits that you found while practicing aerial yoga.
Ooh. Um, it increases blood circulation. It helps with staying in a movement meditation. So just being focused. It also is truly one of the only forms that you can work in all three planes. So you can start laying down, standing up, and being truly inverted without having to hold your body weight. So it's something
Okay.
else that's actually allowing you to surrender and truly be inverted. It's also really good just for anti-aging. It's good for releasing a lot of feel-good chemicals. I feel like it's just yoga on steroids, but
Right.
it's not so much of like it's harder. It's just more supportive and allowing you to get used to allowing your body to be in air. Not we want to be grounded, but to actually feel that suspension in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And like from the pictures that I've seen on Google about aerial yoga, I can definitely vouch for the fact that it also improves flexibility and like stability because you're in the air, right? So
Yeah.
and also like some of the benefits you mentioned there as well, definitely. So thank you for sharing that. And I definitely look forward to trying out aerial yoga, and I'm sure it's the same for our listeners and viewers as well. So thank you for sharing. And and now I would like to come into the next question that I have for you, which is, what is the importance of inclusivity and diversity in the wellness space?
This is a tough question for me. Only reason why it's a tough question for me, just to be completely transparent, is I'm one of those personalities that just goes for what she wants. So a, I don't have to see a representation for myself to be able to go for what I want. And
Right,
I didn't realize that so many people needed to see someone that looks like them to actually do the things that they want. So it's hard for me to speak from oh, I saw an African American doing aerial and that's what made me want to do aerial. No, I saw a person doing aerial and that's what made me want to do aerial. That being said, because majority of a lot of people experiencing their human experiences
yeah.
need to see representation, I respect the fact that they need to see it. So that's why I would guess it's the representation and inclusivity may be important for others. For
Right.
me, it's it's cool. I like it. It's like, oh yeah, I get to see different races, different genders, different sizes, and things like that. It's not the end all for me getting into something, but I know for other people, they typically need to see something.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's a very unique perspective to look at it. I love how you mentioned that, you're going for an aerial yoga class and that's your goal there. Whereas for the others, they look into the representation, inclusivity, and diversity and such. So I think I can agree with you on that as well. So thank you for sharing that and giving us a unique lens into that. So now I would like to come into the rapid fire questions that I have for you. And yeah, I'm so excited for that. So the first question that I have for you is, you are an aerialist, yoga, and Pilates instructor. So how does movement contribute to your overall mental health?
Ooh, it's needed. I can't go without having it. And practice, everything's a practice, and I'm steady discovering different things about myself, different things about the way that I affect other human beings just from this movement. Just to give you like back history, the whole reason why I got into this idea of aerial yoga, aerial fitness, Pilates was because my goal was to run away with the circus to be an aerialist. So
Okay.
that was it. It had nothing to do with trying to create a world for other people and trying to do that. Those things were just like icings on the cake that I didn't know could be a possibility. But it was no, I have to perform. I want to be an aerialist in the circus. And from there, the universe, God was presenting different things for me to get to those routes. And I was just like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get certified in Pilates. But it's not to teach. It's actually just so that I can
Have that
learn how to make
knowledge.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I end up teaching, and it ends up being like my my whole thing. And then the aerial yoga, I was like, I want to start teaching aerial, but I need a credential. And then I was like, okay, aerial yoga. Let me get into aerial yoga because it's closest thing to aerial. And that's how I got into aerial yoga. And then it started to give me that idea of like, well, maybe we should go revisit yoga too. So everything was just kind of like emotionally driven, but also result driven. Of, I want to perform. I want to perform because that's that thing that gives me um, that movement medicine is performing. So all those movements definitely has helped me mentally, physically, emotionally. Totally different person. Person 25 and under. Hated loud colors. Never smiled. Walk around with a frown. Um, did not talk to people, was not outgoing, very introverted, very like um, in my own bubble. 25 and after, discovering stuff, it totally different people. The one thing that I can say is I'm still an introvert, but I'm like an introvert that's more of like um, approachable, accessible,
Yeah.
concerned about other people. So I guess movement has definitely played a part in that um, that transition.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I absolutely love how you had a vision of performing aerial arts. And I love how yoga, aerial yoga, as well as Pilates are some way like connected. They are a way of movement, right? So I love how you had that vision and goal and how you're working towards that in steps. So thank you for sharing that. And the next question that I have for you is, what is the inspiration behind the name Fly Fit Lenise?
Ooh, real life story. So before I was Fly Fit Lenise, I was Pilates with Lenise Jay.
Oh, okay.
And I had a logo and everything. Once again, once stuff is presented to me, I'm one of those people that just goes with the flow. So I got into the Pilates world with no intentions on teaching, but when I started teaching, I got really good at it. And I ended up traveling to different places, going to different countries just to teach Pilates. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and try to brand with this.
Mhm.
Lenise, Pilates with Lenise Jay. But Pilates, I love it. I respect it. It's not my heart. Aerial is my heart. But I still enjoy Pilates. And I wanted to start to brand more towards the aerial part without excluding the Pilates and like the fitness aspect, the conditioning of it.
Mhm.
And the closest thing I could, and it was funny because the guy that was doing my logo, when I told him I wanted to change my name to Fly Fit Lenise, he was like, no one will find that. Are you sure you want to change it to Fly Fit Lenise? And I was like, yeah, because she flies, she's fit. To me, it encompasses like health and fitness in general. And then it's me. So it made sense at the time to me, but the people that were like, are you sure you want to do that? I was like, yes, I want to change it. I don't want to be just glued to Pilates. I don't want to be just glued to something that I'm not passionate about or just
Right.
in love. So that's how the Fly Fit Lenise came about. It's funny because when I telling people, it's easier for them to figure out versus me like, how do you spell Pilates? How do you pronounce it? I can say I'm fly, I'm fit, and then I'm
Yeah.
Lenise.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And with Pilates, I definitely agree. There's a lot of confusion with how you pronounce it. Like, I remember when I saw the word, I was like, is it pilates or is it like, I was really confused on how you pronounce it. So I had to actually like Google search it and um, like see how to pronounce it. But that's a whole different story. But coming into your name, Fly Fit Lenise, I absolutely love how it's you. It's unique to you, and like I love how you kind of gave me a background on how you got the name Fly Fit as well as Lenise and how you made that transition from the Pilates name to what you have today. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And the final question that I have for you is, what do you enjoy most about aerial fitness and yoga?
Ooh. Um, let's see. I enjoy the fact that my body's moving. My body is almost or I should say my mind is still in time. So there's no such thing as time when I'm in the aerial arts, the aerial yoga, like the suspension, even yoga. It just feels like everything is there. I'm not focused on the outside world, Amazon packages. I'm not focused on what I have to do after. Before then, it's definitely very hypnotizing for me, that makes me feel good. And it just, I don't know, after I get done with an hour of yoga or an hour of doing my aerial stuff, I go out in the world and the world just looks brighter. It just looks more happier. It just feels better. It's similar to that first experience that I had when I did that, when I went to that teacher training just to experience the class, where it was like, I'm just happier. It seems like everything is just beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, yeah. Not to mention with the strength and being able to move and do things, and um, being able to do things that people at my age are not even comparing to other people, but I tend to forget how my age or what my age is until I see someone that I went to high school with, or I see someone that I've been coming up with, and they're like, I have this and I have that. And I'm like, I'm not having that experience. And I'm like, why am I not having that experience? But I don't want it. Maybe let me just keep moving. Keep moving.
Thank you for sharing that, Lenise, and a little bit about what you enjoy most about aerial fitness and yoga. And on that note, that is the end of our questions. So thank you so much for joining me on the 54th episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. It has been a pleasure hearing about your journey with aerial yoga, as well as the passion that you have for movement. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has yet to listen to the 54th episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. And until next time, I hope everyone has a great day, and thank you, Lenise.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure and an honor. I'm excited to see where it's perspective of yogis, great minds. Am I saying that correct? Did I say
Yogi's
it completely
perspective.
backwards? Yogi's perspective. I'm excited to see where it grows, and it's super exciting to be a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.